going to take you back in time to the early 1990s. There might be some of you here who remember what it was like in that disconnected time before the internet. Back in the early 90s, I lived in a remote fishing town called Cordova, Alaska. There are no roads into Cordova. When we go in and out of Cordova, we have to fly or take a boat. There's no movie theater. And when we had our book club meetings on the beach, we needed to carry bear protection with us. Cordova is a beautiful place, but it is removed, and in the days before the internet, it was especially removed. I'm an avid Star Wars fan, and in those days, I believed I was the only adult female Star Wars fan in the entire world. When the internet came to Cordova in the mid-1990s, I discovered there were hundreds of thousands of other Star Wars fans. I soon became involved and became a leader in what we then called the Star Wars Online Fan Club. We created an online community back in the days before many companies had a website of their own. Before long, we had members of the Star Wars Online Fan Club in 23 countries. And one day, I got an email from Lucasfilm, George Lucas's movie studio that makes the Star Wars movies. Lucasfilm wanted to know a lot of things about the Star Wars Online Fan Club. They wanted to know what we liked about Star Wars and what we didn't like, if we collected toys, what books we read. Before long, through my relationship as a passionate fan volunteer with these people at Lucasfilm, I was offered a job at Lucasfilm. I moved to California, and I went to work on the then relatively new Star Wars Celebration. Now, obviously, this is awesome for me. But I have to say, it's also been very good for the companies I work for. With my fan perspective, I've been able to add value to first for Lucasfilm and now for Reed Pop, a company where I work with teams around the world to produce Comic-Cons in 12 countries. I get to work, I love my job. I get to work on these epic fan festivals. Just a couple examples. Star Wars Celebration started in 1999. Maybe 17,000 people showed up to the first one. Considered a niche event, considered something quirky at that time. Now, a Star Wars Celebration can hit 17 billion media impressions. New York Comic-Con. Back in 2006, some members of the staff of Reed Exhibitions decided they wanted to create an event that matched the passion and the energy of the New York area comic fans. They created New York Comic-Con. Last Sunday, we wrapped our 2018 edition of New York Comic-Con, where 250,000 attended. I get to work with these teams around the world. We have Comic-Cons in 12 countries. Just the last weekend of this month alone, we have Comic-Cons in Shanghai, Jakarta, Melbourne, Australia, Paris, France, and just down the road here at XL London. This is from one city to 12 countries, built on fan passion. So it's the energy of the fans that power these events. And that's what I'm going to walk you through today, how we harness fan passion to create shows that are enduring and successful. We'll talk about how to engage fans, how to get the most out of their involvement, and how to give them ownership. So here quickly is the list we'll talk through. How to know who your fans are, connect with them authentically, invite them to participate in a formal way, curate that participation, promote it, and finally revise and do it again. So first, know your fans. It's important to seek out key community leaders and key members of the different fandoms. And with the internet and social media, it makes it pretty easy these days. Think about it. In the mid-1990s, Lucasfilm found the Star Wars Online Fan Club and me in Cordova, Alaska. It's also important when you're looking for your fan leaders to think about the niche as well as the mainstream. We need participation from them that is deep and broad both. I also recommend not sticking with just the internet, not just sticking with social media. It's vital to meet fans face to face. We know who our comic shop customers are in our local comic shops. We attend fan-organized events, and we also create fan meetups where we can talk to our fans in a relaxing setting. So after we know our fans, we need to connect authentically to them. When you connect, I think it's very important that you are a passionate fan yourself. If not, at least you're a fan of fans. And if you're neither one of those, find someone else on your staff to connect with those fans. That sincerity and authenticity is so much more important than any title or position. When you're connecting with fans, give them information. Tell them what you're looking for. Share with them. If you trust them, tell them a little more. They're going to be helping us build our business, and the more they know, the better they can contribute. All right, so we know who our fans are. We've connected with them authentically, and now it's time to invite them to participate. I believe that when we invite fans to participate, it's best done in a formal way, with a process. I mean, it's great to talk to them. It's a start. Ask them what they think. That's good. But to really give them ownership, we need to involve them more formally. Our Comic-Con team in Seoul, South Korea, has a group they call the Comic-Con Creators that they bring together quarterly. And they ask them their opinions, they share news and information with them, they celebrate their contribution. For most of our shows, we have a formal application process where the fans have deadlines for their proposals and we have deadlines to get back to them. Just one word of warning. If you are inviting your audience to participate, you might open the door to the dark side of the fan force. With ownership comes great contribution, great ideas. But sometimes with ownership comes a sense of entitlement that can lead fans and ourselves, if we're not careful, to the dark side. I'm really embarrassed to tell you this story, but it's a good illustration of what I'm talking about. Way back when I was in the Star Wars Online Fan Club in Alaska, I finally got an email from the head of fan relations at Lucasfilm. The first thing I did was send him an email back with a bulleted list of every continuity error in the Star Wars book he'd just written. When I look back, I'm appalled. Like, what would make me do that to someone I admired? It's not an excuse, but the truth is, my sense of ownership in the Star Wars universe eclipsed my common sense, and it clearly eclipsed my good manners. So how do I deal with the dark side of the fan force when I come across it? I think that's an entirely separate talk, but just in short, I listen and acknowledge the concerns, I guide and educate where I can, and finally, I stop the conversation if it becomes apparent that the sides are not going to be moved. It's very important that our fans direct our business, but we need to be careful that they don't dictate our business to the detriment of other fans. So you know who your fans are, you've connected with them authentically, you've invited them to participate formally, now it's time for more work, but it's fun. Curate that participation to the best possible effect. Our fans are going to add incredible content to our shows, but we do need to curate it carefully. One of the things I look for, and it's very important, is a spirit of giving in the fan proposals. If the fans really want to share something really cool with other fans, then even if the proposal's a little rough around the edges, it can be coached into a good contribution. Proposals that are strictly self-promoting are not considered. We want to create generous, giving, fan-centric events, and everyone involved has to share that spirit of giving. Also, be open to ideas you don't expect. Back in 2001, we first opened the doors to accepting fan proposals for Star Wars Celebration 2. And I admit, what I was expecting from the fans was not very imaginative on my part. However, The proposals we got in were amazing. We had proposals for parades of movie reel droids, for room-sized Star Wars dioramas, for costume exhibits. It was fantastic. We changed our program. We made room for these fan contributions, and Lucasfilm got well on the way to producing what they now very rightly call Star Wars Celebration by the fans for the fans. Remember, again, too, we want to be deep as well as broad. Go with what's quirky, too, not just what's mainstream. Years ago, I included a Japanese artist named Oki on our Star Wars University stage. Oki practices the art of Japanese vegetable carving, and he specializes in carving Star Wars characters. Yeah, right, this is quirky, but it's also fun and it's interesting. Oki's come back to almost every celebration. He has standing room only in his classes. Lucasfilm's online Star Wars show has featured him in a segment, and he's even made it onto the Disney Channel. One more little point, when you're getting fans involved and you're curating the show, remember to give them all the tools they need. It's mundane, I know, but it's necessary. They're part of the show, so make sure they know all the whys and hows and wheres, all the tools they need to succeed. So you've curated a great program. You're ready for prime time. So now it's time to promote that content, promote that you have fans involved. Fans do great things for our shows. And when we take the time to promote what they're doing, it shows them that we're really committed to their communities. Also, the media comes to our shows for a number of reasons, but one of the really important reasons is so they can immerse themselves in the excitement and the energy of the fans. We make sure the media knows what our fans are doing. That gives us an authenticity that's marketable. And believe me, we market it. So in review, we know who our fans are. We've connected to them in an authentic way, formally invited them to participate and get involved, curated to the absolute best possible effect, and we've promoted that we have fans in our show. There's one thing left, and that's revise and do it again. Having fans help our business grow and having fans involved in our business is not a one-time proposition. It's something we need to go back and do over and over again. New fandoms emerge all the time. And by its very definition, pop culture changes all the time. We need to stay in touch with our fans. We need to keep them involved so we know what's coming. So what's hot this year? What's getting less interesting? What's coming up? What things are evergreen? What's going to fade in a year or two? What are the things we haven't seen that maybe the fans have seen are coming? It's absolutely essential we have them involved. So, in summary, involving fans, harnessing the power of fan passion, helps us create shows that are successful and authentic. With authenticity comes great programming, growth, great ideas, and also audience loyalty. So harnessing the power of fan passion is really good to keep our business growing, and it's also a lot of fun.